bum 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 bum. Hey Star Wars fans, it's your old friend Dominic Tringali here with another issue of Star Wars Build the Millennium Falcon. This is issue number 17, as always, $10.99, including VAT. So that brings the grand total of the price for our model kit up to €179.34. This one's kind of a dull red. I'd call it almost crimson. Picture of the Millennium Falcon, all in its glory and beauty. So let's go dive right into this issue and see what we find. All right, so this issue is actually rather interesting. Let's take a quick pull in here. So if you don't know what this is, or you hadn't seen it earlier, this is the Advanced TIE Fighter prototype, the X1. They only made one of these, and it was the personal TIE Fighter of the man himself, Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker. So, let's just take a look at what we got going on here. There's a bunch of stuff about it, why it was so special, what made it interesting or unique. It actually does have a hyperdrive. That was one major thing. It's not a very good one. Hyperdrive class 4. Has a concussion missile launcher with 20 cluster missiles. Cargo capacity of 150 kilograms, including 5 days rations. A little faster than your standard TIE. Stuff like that. And then we go into this article about visiting Mustafar, the planet that our friend Anakin lost his legs and became the evil Sith Darth Vader we know today. So Mustafar was a mineral planet. It's actually covered in really valuable minerals, if you, from the reading I did here. And a little interesting thing here, how they got the lava effect by mixing a number of different materials together and running lights underneath the glazing material. Very interesting. Took many weeks to do these shots. A lot of them practical effects, some of them CGI. Very interesting stuff. And then back to our section on Secrets of Starflight. We have this section on orbiting a planet and how difficult it is to set your orbit around a planet correctly, because if you do it incorrectly, you'll just crash into the planet with a decaying orbit, much like Skylab did in the 1960s or 1970s. Anyone here who remembers Skylab? I mean, I'm too young to remember Skylab, but I remember reading about it. America's first attempt at a space station, and it just was an utter failure because they got it up there, and then they couldn't figure out how to maintain it, its orbit at least. It was a decaying orbit and eventually fell into the planet Earth. Didn't kill anybody, thank God. So, and explains kind of why the Death Star couldn't just appear closer to Yavin. It had to appear where it did and then kind of orbit around Yavin, or else the Death Star itself, even as big as it was, could have been sucked into the gravitational pull of Yavin and crashed. So there's that. Secrets of Starflight. Anyone who's really a space nerd would probably be interested in this kind of stuff. But for me, it was kind of too much. I dig some of the history and mystery and little side facts about it, but ultimately this is putting too much real world physics into a science fiction universe. So for me, I don't particularly go in for these articles. But like I said, I was really questioning what we were going to be doing in the future with each progressive issue, seeing how they're getting increasingly, they're kind of running out of ideas, I think. But they do have another, let's see, this is issue 17, so they have another 83 issues to go to figure this all out. So then our familiar green pages. So let's see what we got here. We have bag number 17. So let me go ahead and tear this open and see what we got. So we have this real big sprue, which is full of pieces that we're going to be using for our ring corridor. Speaking of the ring corridor, we have this other piece that's going to go to that from last issue that we were working on. we have this large piece of lower hull plating and a framing piece. Hopefully that, like last issue, that'll be going onto the frame so we don't have these just lying around. And again, I hope really soon we'll be getting instructions on how to put the framing to the actual, how to put the plating onto the framing. And a number of screws, and this collar I assume goes to the ring corridor. So let's go ahead and break these open and get right into building. So these are all the pieces we have for the ring corridor. So our first step is to remove this big long piece and attach it right in here. So let me go ahead and clip that off and glue it into place, and you'll see what that looks like after I've completed step number 3. So there it is. That's what this looks like. The next step is to take this long piece you see right here and glue that right above it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you'll see what it looks like when I'm finished with step 5. Alright, so after I've trimmed off and glued in the second cushion, that's what it looks like. Now I have, it looks like, 9 more cushions to cut out and put into this corridor. So I'm going to go ahead and do those one at a time and show you what it looks like when I'm about halfway finished. I mean, you just cut 6, 7, 8, 9, so on and so forth. The instructions are pretty clear where they all go, so I guess I'll do this one at a time and show you guys what they look like. So that's what it looks like when I've completed step number 7. The next step is to trim off this cushion and put it on the other side. Alright, so I'll go ahead and do that and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I went ahead and just did 2 cushions this time. They were just real quick. And that's what it looks like when it's all said and done. Alright, so let's go ahead and take the other cushions off the sprue and put them on this piece as the instructions have indicated, and complete the step for today. So I spoke a bit too soon. I actually needed to put cushions over all of these, so I had to clip out 3 more cushions, and now you can see every side has 2 cushion pieces. So now I can actually move up to the top half with the last 3 cushion pieces that I have left and attach those here, here, and here. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what the product looks like when I'm all done with those steps. So now the top half is fit with these 3 cushions, the bottom half with all 6 pieces, or I guess 8 pieces for the cushions. That makes 11 cushion pieces altogether from that sprue. And you can see these 3 holes, and they're actually going to line up with those 3 holes, or those 3 brackets, for lack of a better word, fixture pieces. They're all going to link up together, and this is going to form one cylindrical ring corridor piece. So let's do that and show you what that will look like after I complete step number 7. So it was a bit of a pain in the ass, and it wasn't 100% perfect, but I did get this sleeve piece, this corridor all put together, and even though it bulges in some spots, it'll be pulled together when I do the next step, which you'll be kind of pleasantly surprised to see what that is. So let me surprise you a bit and show you. So I've taken my main hold and attached this ring corridor piece to it and formed up into this neat little diorama of sorts. Really cool stuff, and overall I am freaking impressed. So that's the last step for today. We're not going to be fitting that piece of hull to the framing, disappointed, but we will shortly be doing that, I'm sure. So let me show you what comes with issue 18, and we'll get to our question of the day. So with issue number 18, we'll be getting something called an assembly jig, which I'm not quite sure what that is, and we'll be getting another framing piece for the lower frame, lower hull, and dear God, we'll be getting 2 more of these ring corridor struts that we'll have to clip out 18, so 36. Not as bad as the ones we did today, but in last issue 16, but dear God, man, how many more of these ring things am I going to end up having to do? Alright, well, question of the day is, who would win in a fight between a Jawa and an Ugnaught? Alright guys, so make sure to leave your comment down below, hit the like button if you haven't already, And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on issue 18 or any of the other issues leading up to the completion of the Millennium Falcon. So, great guys. See you for issue 18.